Well, good morning. I am going to try to do a video here that has a lot to do with how you can solidify Calvins. I'm hearing through the grapevine that some of you out there are having trouble solidifying your events. The Calvins, you cannot print them as is. And I'll explain the reason for that. There's a method. You can extrude them, but that there's more to it than that. So hiding in the background here, I have the Cowl vent from a 1970 AMC Rebel Machine that I made printable a while back in this file, and I'll show the whole car originally. I'm trying to keep this 10 minutes or less here. I don't want to take up too much time here, but that whole file can be had from gamemodels.ru. It was part of a video game series. I should warn you though, those files can be very, very difficult to extract. You need a certain program. It's too much for me to get into here to how to do that. I'm not sure I can because there's other programs. There's a certain file path that your models have to follow. And sometimes I'll see if I can compose a video on that. So we need to understand that when designers are drawing up a part, whether it be or any part, most of the time they are working in a single plane. You're going to hear my cat join the conversation here. He thinks I'm talking to him. And they work in single planes. And what I mean by that is that everything is drawn on simple single layer faces. So if I go into edit mode here, notice how let's get rid of all these triangles. Let's hit our Alt J key, and we are going to just display here for just a second how this is going to work. But basically, everything is on a single plane, single faces, no extrusion done, no double walls for wall thickness, that sort of thing. So notice how these vents here are really wide open. And I picked this particular Cal vent because this is what I would call an asymmetrical panel. The wipers here, the wiper arm mountings are not symmetrical. So normally you could probably split this in half. You can kind of take it and go down the middle here and get rid of all your faces on that side. But when you try to mirror it, you're going to have a problem because this is going to be in the wrong side. So unfortunately, you're going to have to do the entire panel here. So what I like to do is take these. You can do one of two things. You can highlight all the vertices here, all of them, and then pull them down to extend the vents here to make them a bit deeper. But that's very time consuming. You can do that, but in this for demonstration purpose here, I'm going to just show how you need to fill all these vents in. You're going to have to fill every last one of these vents in because you cannot print these as is. If you try to print that even after extruding, it's going to make a mess. Trust me. So what I do is let's just highlight a couple vertices here. Let's get these four here. Hit the F key to fill it in. Deselect these here. Keep hitting the F key repeatedly and you will get them all filled in. You don't have to go and pick out each one, but you can hit, once you take away a couple points and you have 2.2 vertices connecting, hit your F key repeatedly and it'll fill it in. Okay. I'm not going to do the whole panel here because this can be very time consuming, and like anything else, you're going to have to exercise some patience in getting these all filled in. You're going to go, we would go pretty much the entire length of this panel, fill all these in. After you get all those filled in, you can then take this and let's just hit our A key to highlight everything. And let's just put on the X view here, X axis here, or while we're looking at it from the side profile. Hit our E key and simply extrude all this down. Let's just move that, make that straight, okay? To whatever length you want. Let's just say we want somewhere around 1.6 millimeters for thickness. Looking at our upper corner here, and I can't point to it right at hand here. But basically, notice how now your vents are filled in, The rest of them are not. Yeah, I'm going to just caution you, you cannot print this as is. You must leave them, they all have to be closed up like I have my first three here. But if you try to print these, well, they may print, but you're going to be in a world of hurt because they're very thin, and chances are you try to get them off the supports or after they're cured, they're just going to break. I mean, you can try that, you can attempt that. I don't like doing that because I don't like surprises of any sort when trying to print. I'd much rather have them filled in. As you see the first three vents right here. Let's go back in our object mode here. The first three vents are filled in. You see how that is? Now that's a little bit shallow for me. I like them a little deeper than that. What you can do is, let's back up here. Let's hit our Control Z. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Now let's just, you can take the time and highlight all the vertices to focus in here. It's one thing about Blender. You have to get, change a focal point here to zero in a little better. You have to keep swinging things around. Highlight all the vertices in every single one of these vents, these openings. You can then take your E key, extrude them down further to however deep you want them. Then you have to go back and fill everything in. Yes, it is time consuming. Yes, it is tedious, but I guarantee you it'll save you a lot of grief because I tried this with them open like that and I ended up with a lot of broken bars here because they're just too thin. They're just too thin for print. Some swear they can get away with it. Bully for them. I've always had trouble with it. Now, some particular files already come with a plane, a curved plane or a flat plane, or however they do that. Um, Sometimes you can extrude these vents down, and you can take that plane and put it underneath the vents after they're extruded, and that can serve as your blocking force, and you have to box everything in, to box in that plane and to box in that entire part for your thickness. Okay. Now, real quick before because I'm on a 10-minute time limit here on this free program for Bandicam, I want to just get rid of this. Just hit the X key, delete it. Just show you the whole car where that came from. Let's see. That came from this car here, 1970 AMC Rebel Machine. That's all printed. I haven't printed yet. I did a little 43rd or 87 scale, whatever that was, a little test print. But that's all ready to print as is. And as you can see, it's the wall thickness is there, ready to go. I just haven't had the ambition to print it yet. But that did come from that is originally a video game model. That was originally a video game model that I downloaded, extracted, did all sorts of things to it, got the wall thickness, and the test print came out pretty well for as tiny as it was. So the test print came out well. Well, the 25th scale should also. But this file had practically everything. It had the engine bay, complete engine, at least mostly the top end, the air cleaner, everything, wheels, the whole bit. So, but anyway, hope that explains, hope that helps you out. You have to thicken up or close in those bars in order before you do any kind of extruding. Failing to do that, frankly, I think you're asking for trouble. But yeah, you have to thicken the bars up, close up the bars. After they're closed up, um, you can then extrude the entire works down, however you do that, or close it in. And so some of you have different methods how to do that. I get that. This particular way I do it is several ways to box it apart. Besides extruding, you can pull all the outside vertices here and then box everything in. You could do it like I do and highlight everything, hit your E key and pull everything down. You can do it that way. But those bars, these must be closed in. You got to close. Let me get this in view here. Got to close these in. There's no way around it, at least in my opinion. Okay. Hope that helps you out. And any questions in the video below, drop me a comment in the section below, and I'll try to answer it best I can. Thanks.